World Youth Day in Panama is important for Indigenous youth here in Panama and other places because this is Indigenous lands. Panama has about 13% Indigenous, and our neighboring, you talk about Guatemala, you talk about Ecuador with a lot more percent Indigenous. What does it mean to have World Youth Day in an area with a high percent of Indigenous youth? We thought it's going to take some effort and a real focus, a real option for the Indigenous youth to let them be part of it.
Compartirle a los jóvenes del mundo que están en la JMJ la riqueza y la diversidad de pueblos indígenas que tenemos aquí en Panamá y cómo estos pueblos indígenas unen todas sus culturas y tradiciones con la fe en Cristo, cómo hacen vivir esa fe desde nuestro punto de vista como pueblos indígenas.
Para nosotros, ser indígena es lo importante. Cada cosa que hacemos es representativo de lo que nos enseñaron nuestros ancestros, nuestros antepasados. Cada ritual tiene un significado que para nosotros Dios nos lo mandó, Dios nos creó así. Y como Dios nos creó así, cada una de las representaciones tiene un significado.
Pope Francis mentioned a couple of times in Chiapas and in Peru, and he said to Indigenous people, he said, you have a lot to teach us. And talking about a number of things. The most evident sometimes is our common home, the relationship with the land. But there's other parts to that. There's the sharing. There's a focus on family. There's this focus on living in harmony with others, and not an individual mentality. And that comes from a deep ancestral faith and a way of interpreting our Christian faith. That in some ways is a challenge for us because there's so many temptations in Western society to compartmentalize our faith and then accept the more individualistic way of living in the world, a way of treating God's creation as kind of market goods instead of living in the gratitude of Indigenous people. So my hope is that in little ways, in the context of Indigenous youth with others, because in certain spaces the Indigenous are going to be sharing their way of living out their faith. And if that touches all other hearts, it's a way that the Indigenous youth are also kind of evangelizing here amongst others. So we're very excited for that piece of it, for that interchange and how we can all grow in our faith by that contact and opening our hearts to one another.